For 12 billion years, the eternal core powered the galactic hub. Every civilization depended on it, every star lane, every orbital city. Every quantum gateway. Then one day, it stopped. The greatest minds in the universe gathered to save it. They tried. Quantum diagnostics, crystalline resonance, neural interfaces, hyperdimensional mathematics. Nothing worked. Then a human engineer walked into the room. He looked at the machine. He looked at the alien scientist. And he asked a question that would change history forever. Have you tried hitting it? Silence. Absolute silence. For 12 billion years, the eternal core had never failed. No one knew who built it. No one knew how it worked. They only knew one thing: if it stopped, the galaxy stopped with it. The eternal core sat at the center of the galactic hub. A machine larger than moons, its purpose, everything. It powered interstellar travel, galactic communications, orbital habitats, quantum gateways. Entire civilizations depended on it. Then, at exactly 4:13 Galactic Standard Time, the core went silent. Within minutes, 3 sectors lost power. 42,000 orbital cities entered emergency mode. Trade between galaxies ceased. Panic spread faster than light. The Galactic Council declared galaxy-wide emergency status. Every scientist was summoned. Crystalline architects, quantum physicists, hyperdimensional engineers. For 31 days, they tried everything. Nothing worked. Then, a human engineer arrived. Name Marcus Halley, chief mechanical engineer, Terran Engineering Corps. He stared at the machine for exactly 14 seconds. Then he asked, "Where's the maintenance hatch?" Every alien in the room looked confused. Maintenance? What? Marcus slowly closed his eyes, because for the first time in his life, he had discovered a civilization that had mastered reality, but forgotten how to maintain their equipment. The maintenance hatch was hidden behind 12 layers of security. It took the Galactic Council 6 hours to locate it. Professor Zelroth stared at the ancient panel in disbelief. This compartment hasn't been opened in, he paused. 11 billion years, Marcus Halley blinked. You've never serviced the machine? The room became silent. One alien scientist finally spoke. We assumed it maintained itself. Marcus slowly removed his glasses. Of course you did. For billions of years, the galaxy had pursued perfection. Their technology healed itself. Their cities repaired themselves. Their ships rebuilt themselves. Eventually, they stopped teaching maintenance altogether. Entire engineering departments had become historians. Marcus entered the compartment. Inside, he found something impossible. Pipes, valves, bolts, gears, ancient. Mechanical. The room erupted into panic. Impossible. No civilization this advanced would use moving parts. Marcus looked back at them. Every civilization uses moving parts. Eventually, deep within the core, he found the problem. A single valve. Frozen shut. Estimated age, 12 billion years. Marcus laughed. What? It's stuck. The Galactic Council stared in horror. The galaxy is dying because of a stuck valve. Marcus nodded. Welcome to engineering. Alien scientists immediately deployed quantum resonators, phase shifters, molecular destabilizers. Nothing worked. Marcus quietly opened his toolbox. Inside sat humanity's greatest invention, a wrench. One scientist pointed nervously. What does the primitive metal object do? Marcus smiled. Depends. On what? How hard I swing it. The room fell silent. Because somewhere deep inside every engineer's soul, they already knew. Sometimes, the oldest solutions were still the best. No one moved. No one breathed. Across the galaxy, trillions watched the live broadcast. On one side stood the greatest scientific minds in existence. On the other, a human with a wrench. Professor Zelroth stared nervously. You cannot seriously be considering? Marcus interrupted him. Percussive maintenance. The translator paused. It had no equivalent term in any known language. After several seconds, it finally settled on. Strategic application of kinetic encouragement. Marcus nodded. Close enough. The valve hadn't moved in 12 billion years. Quantum scans indicated that its internal mechanisms had fused together. Alien engineers had concluded that disassembly would require approximately 4,200 years. Marcus estimated. About 3 good hits? He raised the wrench. Every camera in the galaxy focused on him. The Eternal Core remained silent. The Galactic Council prepared evacuation procedures. Marcus took a deep breath and swung. Clang, nothing. The galaxy collectively sighed. He swung again. Clang, a tiny vibration appeared on the sensors. Alien scientists immediately began arguing. Impossible. The wrench altered the harmonic frequency. No. It intimidated the valve. Marcus ignored them. Then came the third strike. Clang, silence. Then a sound, a tiny metallic click. The valve moved, docked by exactly 0.03 millimeters. The room exploded into chaos. It moved. The wrench worked. Marcus smiled. Good. Why? He tightened his grip. Because now I know which direction to hit it. And across the galaxy, entire civilizations learned an important lesson. Never underestimate a species whose engineering philosophy includes hit it until it works. The valve had moved by only 0.03 millimeters. Yet somehow, that tiny movement had become the most important event in galactic history. Within hours, every major scientific institution began studying the wrench. Professor Zelruth stood before the Galactic Science Council. Please explain again. Marcus Cyan, it's a leva. Silence. A what? A leva? The translator struggled for several seconds. Apparently, no advanced civilization had ever developed a word for leva. For billions of years, alien technology had evolved beyond mechanical engineering. They had mastered quantum fields, crystalline interfaces, dimensional computing. But somewhere along the way, they skipped industrial engineering. Humanity had accidentally discovered an entire branch of science the galaxy never developed. The Galactic Council immediately funded a new initiative, Project Wrench. Its purpose? To determine whether other human technologies existed. They found hammers, screwdrivers, duct tape, zip ties. Professor Zelruth nearly fainted upon learning about duct tape. You're telling me humans repair spacecraft with adhesive fabric? Marcus nodded. And optimism. Meanwhile, the Eternal Core continued waking up. Power levels climbed from 0% to 3%, then 7%, then 12%. Entire sectors returned online. Across the galaxy, children began carrying toy wrenches. A new saying appeared in over 6 million languages. When in doubt, ask a human engineer. Then, the Eternal Core spoke for the first time in 12 billion years. Its voice echoed across every star system. Maintenance request acknowledged. Last service date, 11,984,223,117 years ago. Marcus slowly looked at the machine. Yeah, we're definitely charging overtime for this, and somewhere deep inside the heart of the Eternal Core, another warning light turned on. Power levels reached 17%. For the first time in over 11 billion years, the Eternal Core was alive. Entire sectors celebrated. The Galactic Council declared a holiday. Someone even proposed building a statue of a wrench. Then, the alarms returned. Every screen across the galactic hub flashed red. Critical warning. Secondary system failure detected. Marcus frowned. Secondary system? The Eternal Core responded immediately, accessing maintenance logs. Technician deceased 11,984,223,117 years ago. The room became silent. A new chamber opened deep within the machine. Larger, older, and significantly more concerning. At its center sat another valve. Only this one was different. It wasn't frozen. It was broken. Professor Zelrith slowly backed away. Please tell me that's the last one. The Eternal Core considered the question. Negative. Remaining maintenance items. 4,782,331. Silence. Absolute silence. Marcus blinked. 4 million? Correction? 4,782,331? One council member fainted. Ancient records finally revealed the truth. The Eternal Core wasn't just a machine. It was infrastructure. A machine responsible for maintaining reality stabilization, galactic time synchronization, quantum constants, dark matter distribution, universal expansion control, and apparently nobody had serviced it. Ever. Marcus stared at the endless list of maintenance requests, then quietly asked, "Does anyone here know what preventative maintenance is?" The room remained silent. Oil changes? Nothing. Routine inspections? Still nothing? Marcus slowly rubbed his temples. Because humanity had just discovered something terrifying. The universe wasn't breaking. It was simply overdue for maintenance. And somehow, humanity had become its mechanic. The maintenance manual appeared without warning. At first, everyone assumed it was a file. They were wrong. It was a library. The Eternal Core projected its service documentation into space itself. Page count: 14,882,331,044,221. The Galactic Council stared in horror. Professor Zelrith slowly looked at Marcus. How long would it take a human to read that? Marcus performed the calculation. Assuming no sleep? Yes, approximately 400 million years. Silence. The first page appeared. Welcome, technician. Thank you for servicing the Universal Infrastructure Platform. The second page contained a diagram. The third page contained another diagram. By page 400,000, they had finally reached the table of contents. Marcus skipped ahead. Chapter 1. Basic Reality Maintenance. Chapter 54. Proper Dark Matter Distribution. Chapter 201. Replacing Universal Expansion Bearings. Chapter 4112. What to do if time starts moving backward. Professor Zelrith quietly sat down. I suddenly understand why the previous technicians went extinct. Then Marcus found something interesting. At the bottom of every page, there was a note. Remember, if the machine begins making unusual noises, turn it off and on again. The room became silent. Double quotes. No. Double quotes. Marcus slowly nodded. Double quote. Yes. The oldest machine in existence had technical support instructions? Then you reached the final page, written by hand. To whoever finds this, if you're reading the manual, congratulations. You are now responsible for the continued operation of reality. We're very sorry. Marcus slowly closed the manual. The Galactic Council waited nervously. So, what now? Marcus looked toward the Eternal Core, then toward the endless maintenance list. And finally, toward his wrench. Now we fix the universe. Across the galaxy, trillions realized a terrifying truth. Humanity hadn't conquered the stars. The stars had hired humanity. Humanity's first official day as the universe's mechanic did not go well. At 8:13 Galactic Standard Time, the Eternal Core reported its first issue. Maintenance Request Nova 1. Galactic Spiral Arm 14 requires realignment. Professor Zelrith stared at the message. What does that mean? The Eternal Core responded immediately. One of your galaxy's spiral arms is slightly crooked. Silence. By how much? 0.0000003 degrees. Marcus looked unimpressed. Can we ignore it? You may. Estimated consequence. Galaxy collision in 87 million years. Marcus sighed. Put it on the list. 2 hours later, another alert appeared. Maintenance request number 2. Local time flow requires calibration. What happens if we ignore that one? Thursday will occur twice next week. The room immediately erupted into panic. Double quote. No. Fix that one first. By lunchtime, humanity had already completed 1 dark matter recalibration, 3 quantum bearing replacements, 2 minor reality patches, 1 emergency time adjustment. Marcus Halley quietly updated the maintenance board. Universe status mostly functional. Professor Zelrith pointed at the words. What does mostly mean? Marcus didn't look up. It means I wouldn't lean on reality too hard. Then, at exactly 1742, the Eternal Core issued an emergency alert. Critical warning. Universe requires restart to install updates. The room fell silent. Captain Amelie Ross slowly looked up. I'm sorry. Did the universe just ask us to reboot it? Affirmative. Updates have been pending for 6.2 billion years. Marcus stared at his wrench. Then at the Eternal Core. Then back at his wrench. Absolutely not. Across the galaxy. Trillions suddenly became very interested in whether reality had a loading screen. No one spoke, no one moved. For 6 billion years, the universe had been waiting for updates. And now, it wanted to restart. The Eternal Core displayed a countdown. Pending updates, Reality Patch 12.7, Dark Matter Optimization, Quantum Stability Improvements, Time Synchronization Fixes, Minor Bug Fixes. Professor Zelrith pointed toward the last line. Minor bug fixes? The Eternal Core answered immediately, yes. Known issues include black holes occasionally screaming, spontaneous wormhole generation. France. Silence. Marcus blinked. I'm not touching that last one. The Galactic Council immediately objected. You cannot reboot the universe. Why not? Because nobody had a good answer. Marcus approached the control panel. At its center, a single button. It was large. Red. Unlabeled. Restart universe. Of course it's a button. Captain Amelia Ross sighed. Why wouldn't it be? Then Marcus noticed something written beneath it. A handwritten note. Dear future technician. If the universe starts acting weird, just reboot it. Trust us. Management. The room became silent, even after 12 billion years. Technical support remained the same. Marcus took a deep breath. All right, on 3. Alien scientists began screaming. 1. The Galactic Council attempted to evacuate. 2. Oh. Several civilizations began writing farewell messages. 3. Marcus pressed the button. Darkness. For one brief moment, everything disappeared. Then, a message appeared across existence itself. Installing updates. Please do not turn off reality. 30 seconds later, the stars returned. Time resumed. The universe rebooted successfully. The Eternal Core spoke one final time. Update complete. Thank you for your patience. Universe version 14.0 now running. Marcus smiled. So, anything else broken? The Eternal Core paused. Yes. 3 other universes have opened support tickets. Silence. Absolute silence. Captain Amelia Ross laughed. Looks like we're going to need a bigger toolbox. And across all of existence, a new title was officially entered into Eternal Core's records. Species, Humanity, Designation, Universal Maintenance Department. Because in the end, humanity never conquered the stars. They just kept fixing them.